Everybody, make sure to subscribe to Retard of Them.
Would it be too much to ask to go over what I was given as an example, since there's just one quick moment when it clearly isn't a good example, and we could move on to something else, but we got stuck at a weird point because I was given something to look over and I really needed to respond, and nobody cared to adjust the conversation towards what we were talking about, which would be a demonstration of the curvature of the earth. Jim, you
Does it
absolutely
involve
know
the
what I'm
horizon?
saying.
I do think we can fast go over it.
While looking at their evidence, you pretended I had none. And that's asinine.
If you,
I didn't mention
But
anything
you
about
have to increase the conversational level in order for me to continue.
I didn't mention anything about you having any evidence. You just made a claim about the curve calculator, and then when you were asked to support it, instead of supporting it, you started telling some story about how Laurie was unfamiliar with you.
Okay, so play dumb all you want. Pretend I'm fat all
Okay.
you want.
I'm not going to do that. I just recalled exactly what happened, word for word what happened. It's not playing dumb, it's recalling the shitty thing that you did when you could have just gone to the curve calculator. Well, you couldn't because you know you were fucking bullshitting and it didn't support you. So that's why you went on this. What we're seeing here is you being unfamiliar with me.
You're doing it again. You're doing it again.
Yeah, because he's a bullshitting liar.
No, you got to control that, man.
What do you think hurts me more, being muted or that you insist I'm lying without even mentioning what you think I'm lying about? Okay. Damn the lying man.
Okay, the thing you were lying about is making a claim about what would the curve calculator would tell you, and then when challenged on that claim, not supporting it with data from the curve calculator, instead droning on about how the person challenging you was unfamiliar with you, as if that makes some difference to the facts of reality somehow.
Plus, that's also a lie because I'm familiar with you, Dan.
So that's the thing. Are we clear now what it is I'm talking about?
Yeah, let's talk about what Everett just posted because he's a good guy. Okay, he just posted something that just shows that there is no difference between both 1 and 3 miles. Do you understand what that means to you? Something
there is a difference there.
It means nothing.
Okay, I got to ask you to be real here. There is no dramatic or interesting difference, no matter what you pretend or claim. I can explain it.
Hang on. So we're being real, right? We're being real. Okay, here's some reality. This is a TV.
Is there a difference?
Okay, am I allowed to speak?
No, is it
let's confirm that in this conversation.
More evidence you won't discuss?
Okay, we're doing it that way, are we? All right.
Yeah,
you see, people say, "Oh, you've got to stop muting him," but you heard it there. I said 3 words, and already he was talking over me. And I said, "Am I allowed to speak?" Pointing out that he's talking over me. And instead of him going, "Oh yeah, sorry, okay, go ahead," no, we get all this a silly tantrum. Because somebody else dared to speak. This is it every time. There's no way of having a conversation because you refuse to have one. A conversation is you speak, then somebody else speaks. Not you speak, somebody else starts to speak for 2 seconds, and then you talk all over the top of them. That's not a conversation.
That's true. He did ask, "Can I speak?" And you speak over
him. If you want to talk about the image, Dan, your original question was, is there a difference? There is a difference. Now, after I pointed that out, you, like a coward, you change your question to, is there an interesting difference?
Fuck
you then. You don't belong in this conversation. Go ahead. Leave.
Fucking idiot. So, what the point I was going to make was, you wanted to be real. So let's be real. This is a TV show. It happened once. Anything within it is completely irrelevant to the hundreds of thousands of measurements that show that the Earth is curved. It's completely irrelevant to the hundreds of thousands of photographs that show that the Earth is curved. I don't care about this shit show. If we're being real, this is a tiny, tiny drop in the ocean of very unreliably formulated evidence from a source that had entertainment in mind rather than true discovery. That's what this is. It's irrelevant to measurements of the Earth. If we're being real, Dan.
Well, it's very relevant because you asked me about the calculations and why would I have expectations. All this is very relevant. Your spazzing is just your spazzing. And your people pretending that we were demonstrating the curvature of the Earth anywhere is pretend.
But it's not just
Tried to go over it.
Okay, have you finished?
Yeah, I tried to go over it.
No, the question is,
to me,
okay, you haven't finished.
You made pretend that they were my crappy examples. That was your pretending.
Okay, so have you finished? Is it now my turn to talk? You see, he won't say it because he knows as soon as I start talking, he needs to interrupt me.
I said I'd rather talk.
That's why he's doing it now.
I guess I don't have that choice.
Right, so is it now my turn to talk, Dan?
Are you pretending I have that power?
I'm saying that we're in a conversation. I don't want to talk over you, and I don't want you to talk over me. Therefore, I don't want there to be any confusion at all about when someone has or has not finished speaking. So I'm confirming that you have finished speaking so that then I know I can speak and I know you have no excuse at all to interrupt me. That's what I'm doing.
I don't believe you because you're a liar.
Okay, so we'll do it this way. So measurements of the Earth. You said that's just you spazzing out. No, they're measurements of the Earth. You saying you're spazzing out doesn't get you out of having to deal with them. It doesn't make this stupid TV show any more relevant. It doesn't make it any more damning or compelling in any way just because you said I was spazzing out. Those measurements are still there. They still say the Earth is spherical. There are still hundreds of thousands of them, and they're never going away, Dan. So National Geographic won't change any of that. So you can National Geographic me to death, but you need to deal with those measurements and not just spazzing out. That isn't dealing with them.
You do mean the measurements that they were questioning and that you forced me to go show them, even though they're not children. Those measurements?
I don't know what any of that
Remember
means. No. So no.
The
answer to that question. Hang on. The answer to that question is no, not those measurements. I have no idea what those measurements are. So for the time being, the answer is an unequivocal no. You cannot continue with this line of conversation because I do not know what you're talking about.
Good job.
Just for the.
Do you have a response to the measurements, Dan, at all? Apart from, but there was a TV show on once.
I do. Of course I do. I haven't been supplied any examples of anything anywhere near curvature of the Earth. I've explained bottom-up obstruction, at what point it actually is predictable. And in every demonstration, I can show you because you keep handing
So
the
just
evidence
completely ignore the fact that there's...
If you got a microscope and you had a blood sample, but you refused to look, how would you learn about anemias and things?
I don't know. Is that what you're talking about yourself here? Are you talking about... You're talking about yourself here and the geodetic measurements that you're completely and utterly ignoring in every way, that you're just pretending aren't there. Those measurements and your ability to just pretend they're not there. Is that what you're referring to here?
Being a smart man, I'm only referring to things I've done and participated in.
Okay, well that's not smart, is it? That's fucking idiotic. Only an idiot would do that. Only an idiot would say, well, only the things I've done are true. That's the the rantings of an idiot.
What do you think's better, calling me a liar, discounting me entirely, or just labeling me? What do you think works better for you?
I think it should be pointed out to you that when you try and pretend that you've got some rigorous epistemology that requires that you prove everything to yourself, I think it should be pointed out that that's just idiocy.
And it's actually science. It's when something is observable, measurable, repeatable, that's called scientific method. It's not silly as you
right,
describe.
but holding that as an epistemology for all knowledge, that is silly.
I'm not sure I said that, but what I did say was firsthand experience is something I can talk about.
Right,
And
so now you're not talking about science, then are you?
No firsthand experience.
So now you're not talking about science, are you? You're talking about first-hand experience and proclaiming that you can only hold to be true things that you've experienced firsthand is the rantings of an idiot.
I did not say that. I just said the difference between talking about something you're aware of physically or something you're pretending to know about is different.
Actually, you didn't say any such thing.
Well, you asked.
You said you were only concerned with the. You said you were only. You said you were
out of my wheelhouse.
You said you were only concerned with things that you'd participated in yourself. Is what you said. That's what you said. So just another excuse to ignore evidence. Basically, it's not my evidence. It's not my evidence, so I get to pretend it's not there because I didn't do it.
Quiz me on more claims I didn't make. How's that?
I just want to say one
thing.
So
deal with the measurements. Explain to me how do you account for the existence of geodetic measurements?
Well, we got none. When we did the work, we didn't find that to be true. Do you understand?
Okay. My question isn't how do you account for the things that you didn't get? That isn't my question. Geodetic measurements exist for all continents of the planet. They exist in different places. Different organizations have produced them. I'm not talking about anything at all that you have done. I'm talking about these geodetic measurements that exist independent of you. That's what I'm talking about. Do you have anything to say about them apart from, I didn't do them?
Would the verification of such measurements cause an obstruction in the distance?
Yes.
When I went to verify them. So this is a great answer. Thank you. This is a good question then. Right?
Well, I don't think you could verify these measurements by looking to see when things go beyond.
Who's made the claim?
Can I finish? Did it sound like the end of the sentence there? I don't think it did it, you ignorant fucking wanker? I think you know damn well you were interrupting the middle of my sentence. Didn't you? No, damn well you were. Fucking cunt. This is why, Dan. This is why. Because you disrupt constantly. You refuse to just have a proper conversation. Just take it in turns. You won't even do that.
Let's be nice. We love Dan.
Sudden earthers, is that what you'll call it now? Southern? You believe in sudden earth?
You see, so where are we now? We just forget all about everything that you've just said about geodetic measurements. Just forget all that. We'll go back to talking about the video and the sudden change at 2 minutes 30.
Everybody, make sure to subscribe to Retard of Them.